that's long. He's been a very mature player. It's been a long time starting the SEC, competed at a high level. Just very exciting to get somebody that has some position flexibility in terms of playing on the right and left. He's a guy that's focused primarily on the left, but he's capable of playing on the right, and just that adds depth without adding numbers. So just really excited about this.
All righty, we'll get started with Mark Kaboli, The Athletic. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Adrian, I'm sensing a pattern here through first 4 picks. I mean, was that the plan, or has this draft just broke in the way that you were able to get some of the guys you were looking for?
You're talking about in terms of our team plan or the plan within our room?
The plan, both, I guess.
I can't speak for team, that's above my pay grade or whatever, but in terms of what we're looking for in the room, these are exactly the type of guys we want. Guys with position flexibility that are that played at a high level, that have shown their availability through being healthy, and we've addressed those needs. I'm just really happy with the results right now.
Christopher Carter, BK Pittsburgh Sports.
Hey, Adrian, can't help but notice Dan has a lot of experience playing in zone blocking schemes and being kind of a run first guy that does get things going a lot like Kendrick. How much of that was weighing in on decisions on you guys and who you guys liked to add to your room this year?
I mean, it weighed in big time. I'm not going to sit here and act like that's not hasn't been a concern here. We want to improve our run game, and we want to get guys within on our team that can thrive in what we're going to do schematically. And we believe that both those guys can do those things, and they can perform at a high level because we've seen them do it already.
Chris Adamski.
Does he, the nastiness quotient or whatever you were talking about yesterday in terms of the mentality, he talked about how he likes running the ball, or likes when the running play is called, that kind of thing. Is that his personality is a little more laid back than Kendrick was, but does he have that on the field?
Yeah, I mean, guys could be a certain way off the field, but he could turn it on the field. This is a guy that is more than capable of being nasty and playing physically and finishing and all those type things. And to address, you hear some of the things Mel Kiper, some of these guys say, talking about physicality. I mean, that guy has finished and pounded people in the dirt. Sometimes schematically, what people are asked to do on a collegiate level or NFL level, sometimes you can't do certain things because it's not within that scheme. But there's plays that we've seen him finish guys off and do the extra and take guys to the sideline and all that. And just, it's not flashes. I mean, he plays consistently, at a high level with the high motor, and just, I'm really excited about that. Like I talked about yesterday, it's always exciting when you don't have to beg a guy to do those things, and he does that naturally.
Brooke Pryor.
Hey, Adrian, given the depth that you guys have at tackle right now with Banner and Chuks Okorafor, do you view this pick as more of a project down the road, or how NFL ready is Dan at this point in his career?
I don't view him as a project at all. Throwing him right in the mix in terms of competing. We haven't decided if it's going to be right or left. He's capable of playing both sides. But I mean, it's a guy that started, I don't know, over 30 games in the SEC. I mean, that's dang, close to being. There's a lot of guys in that league that are going to be in this league someday soon, or that are in here now, and so I think he's more than ready, to compete and to accept the challenge that's ahead of him. So I'm not really concerned about that.
Jim Wexell.
Yeah, Adrian, looks like you have I think I'm following up on Kaboli's question a little bit. It looks like you have the makings of a real physical offensive line, more so than in the past. And DeCastro, I'm assuming, is going to be your key guy as a leader. How are you going to work all that?
Can you repeat the last part? I'm sorry.
How are you going to work DeCastro being the leader, teaching these young physical linemen how to play physical football?
Just that's what we're trying to get, a certain kid in here that has a certain mindset already. And there's some young guys that have been here that do have that mindset. And Dave comes from that background. One of the things they use at Stanford is they call it building a bully. And, that was when Dave was playing there, and a couple years after that was one of the most dominant run games in terms of offensive linemen going to the league and running backs and all those things like that. So he has it in him, and he's shown that. He's been one of the most, he's not just a gifted athlete, but he's been one of the most dominant, players in the league when he's healthy. And those guys will follow his lead. It's not so much about what he says vocally. It's just you go and turn on the film and you watch him, and he inspires those young guys. And I think him being around so many young guys going into the season, I think it's going to energize him. You can already see it already with, the times he's come up here. He's excited about things and he's ready to go, and, we're ready to roll.
Noah Strackbean.
Hey, Adrian. I don't know. Were you guys aware that Dan and Kendrick knew each other and trained together? And how much does that help their transition into the league?
I don't know about how much it helps a transition. A number of us know the guy that they're training with down there, and he does a really good job. And just, in terms of you could check in to see what, I guess right now that they're on our team, you could check in to see what they're doing, but I'm not really too worried about that, checking on them. They just have a different mindset in terms of their work ethic and all that. And I don't think, I think it prepares them getting ready for the season in terms of conditioning, but what they're really, in terms of getting them ready for the season, it's getting here in the classroom, virtual meetings and all those type things, and just being around the guys. I think then we'll be able to really tell what they're made of.
Jeff Hathorn.
Hey, Adrian, you mentioned the versatility for Dan to move left or right. How about at guard? He played guard earlier in his career. Does he have an option, or do you think there's a chance for him to play guard for you?
He's shown that he can do that, but that's not where we have him penciled in right now. I could say that maybe he'll get a shot out there, but the reality is he'll be a tackle, and we'll just see how he progresses from there.
Brian Backo.
One thing I noticed about both Dan and Kendrick is that I don't think either of these guys have missed a start or a game in college. How much did you guys prioritize durability, I guess, this year, especially with the unique circumstances of no combine and maybe not as much medical info on some other players?
That wasn't a defining factor, but it definitely was something that was factored in. I mentioned that early on during my intro. It's just that their level of availability throughout their collegiate careers were really impressive, and be able to, both of them have battled through some things and be able to continue to play at a high level to the point where, some of us didn't even know there were possibly issues during the season until after, because there was no drop in their play. They fought through things. It's just something they should be commended for, because a lot of guys don't do that. And then going into this season and playing it and not opting out, just all those things just talks their level of commitment to their team and to their craft.
All right, we'll wrap it up with Alan Saunders. Alan?
Adrian, you talked about his NFL readiness and obviously a lot of experience in the SEC. Was that something you were specifically looking for at the tackle position when you went into that draft? I know you guys got Joe Haig, but you don't really have like a ton of younger guys with much experience that seemed ready to step up if you did have an injury or two this year.
You're just looking for guys that, like you talk about, just guys that are athletic, can do the things they'll be asked of, that show some physicality, that show a high level of competitive spirit, that can play with poise, just want to compete, and just those are things sometimes you're projecting. Maybe it's a guy that's only played 12 games, but then anytime you have something like this where these guys are 30 plus game starters and big time, conferences, that is a positive, but it's not something that you're really looking for. But it is a definite positive that, you take into account when you're evaluating these guys.
All right, thank you.